Hello everyone and welcome to our Monday feature update live, a show streaming live on Facebook and YouTube every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern. Today we'll be talking about the wireframe view for the Visual Builder. Now this update was released sometime last year, but I'd like to go into a bit more detail and show you what you can do with this builder. Now before I get started, I can already see that there are a lot of you already tuning in, so I'd just like to give a shout out before we start the show. So as I mentioned, we are broadcasting on Facebook and also on YouTube. Okay, so here on Facebook, I can already see that we have Tobias from Denmark. We also have Agante from Berlin. I hope I'm pronouncing these names correctly, so forgive me if I'm really messing them up. We also have Newman from Caracas. We have Dan here saying, "Hey Mac, how are you doing, Dan? Thanks for tuning in." We also have Frank from Denmark. We also have Mohammed from Egypt. Thank you all for tuning in. Also need to check on Facebook here and see if there's... Okay, I can see here we have John, we have Frederick. Right. We have Joachim from Spain. We also have Mark from France. Uncle Social is from Lancashire, UK. Wow, awesome. Finally, we have someone here from the UK. Thank you very much for tuning in. Okay, so what we'll be talking about today is the wireframe view for the Visual Builder. Now, I also have a link to an article which you can go ahead and take a look. This goes into a bit more detail on this feature. Okay, so you can go ahead and have a read and also even watch the promotional video about this feature. Okay, so what we'll be covering is I'll be showing you how to name your rows, your sections, how to use drag and drop, how to lock your modules, even also shortcuts which you can use with this wireframe view. Now, just out of interest, how many of you actually use the wireframe view, or did you even know that it was there? So if you use the wireframe view, please give me a 1. If not, can you please give me a 2? I just want to sort of like have an idea of how many of you are using the wireframe view. Okay, so we have Diana here from Germany, John from Greece. Thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Okay, so wow, this is awesome. I can see a lot of ones. I have a 1.5 from Toran. Awesome. Okay. So quite a few of you don't use the wireframe view. So I'd like to now go in and just show you. Oh, we have Aram from Kurdistan. Wow, awesome. I think that's the first time we've had someone from Kurdistan tuning in. Okay, brilliant. Right, so let's jump into the builder now, and let's take a look at these new this feature. So to access the wireframe view, what you need to do, of course, you have to first enable the Visual Builder. So I'm just going to enable it right here, like that. And then all the way down here to the bottom, if you click this expand option right here at the bottom of the page, we can access the wireframe view by clicking this icon here on the lower left. So I'm going to click on it right now. Now we can see that this is very similar to our traditional builder. So for those of you that haven't started using this Visual Builder, you can now just use this without actually going back to the classic builder, because this is pretty much similar to the classic builder but even better. So let me show you what you can do with this. So pretty much you can do your drag and drop if you wanted to. So you can just click on your module, drag it and drop it, just like that. Okay. So your drag and drop still works. Now what you can also do here is to come in and rename your rows. So if I come over here and highlight that and just say hero, you can see here that if I can spell correctly, you can see here I can just go in easily and start naming these rows, section and modules. So if we take a look here on the text, I can always just go in and start typing. So let's say I'm going to call this main text like that. So this is a fast way of actually going in and naming all your rows, sections, and modules without actually going into our traditional builder. So this is something that you can do very, very quickly. Okay, so let's take a look here and see what else we can do. Now, let's say you want to access even more features. Now, to access more features, you can also right-click like that, and then now you have your undo, redo, save to library, split test, disable, lock, copy module, copy style. So this has all the features that you need in order for you to start laying out your websites as you like. Now it's also very easy. Now there's some situations where when you're designing your website, in fact, let me just go back to my visual builder here. There are instances where when you're building your website, it's very difficult sometimes to pinpoint the actual item that you need to work on. So by just flipping quickly over here to the wireframe view, you can easily just come here and locate the item that you're trying to edit. So this makes it very, very easy for you to just flip back and forth between these two views. Right. If you have any questions regarding the wireframe view, please do leave it in the comments box below. I'll do my best to answer those questions. Now, if you're just joining us, this is our Divi Feature Update Live, the show that covers in depth the released features just to help you design your websites or even use these features much, much easier. Okay, so I'm just going to take a look and see if we have any questions regarding this. Oh, wow, we have someone else from the UK. This is Mark Humphrey from Liverpool. Hey, welcome, Mark. Thank you very much for tuning in. We have also Bello from Nigeria. Right. Oh, we have Ashani from Jamaica. Awesome, awesome. Mohammed says, what about dividers? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You mean you can add, can you add dividers into this? In fact, maybe that's what you mean. So what I'm going to do now is to try and just add a divider. So let's go in and do that. So I'm going to come over here to my wireframe view. And then over here, I'm going to click this plus button and I'm going to search for my divider module. And then I'm going to select it. So that's how you add your divider. Hopefully that's the question you're asking. So you can actually add modules, rows, sections, just like you would with the classical builder using this wireframe view. Okay, so I'm just going to close this now. Right, so I'm going to take a look at more questions here and see if there's... Right. Arjanti says, what is the advantage of using the wireframe view? Now, that is a very, very good question. Now, there are cases where when you're designing your website, the classical view, because this is what we had for a very, very long time. A lot of people got accustomed to using the traditional, the classical mode to design their website. So now with the visual builder, it's an easy way of building your website because you're seeing what you're building. Now, In some cases, there are situations where it would be very difficult to edit a particular module while you're building your website in the Visual Builder. So what a lot of people did was they went back to the classic view, right? Which meant, it takes time. In fact, let me show you now how this saves you a lot of time. So I'm just going to come back here to my monitor and come over here to my Visual Builder. So let's say I'm building here, and for some reason I'm finding it difficult to locate my module here. So what people would do is they would come back here and exit the Visual Builder like that. I'll just save and exit. And then they'll click here on Edit Page and go back to this classical view. So as you can see here, it's very, very similar. In fact, let me open this in a new tab so I can just bounce between the two so you can see what I mean. So this is our classical builder. So a lot of people would go back to this classical builder, go in, make those changes, save, and then if they want to go back to the Visual Builder, then they'll click here on the Visual Builder. So you can see here that it saves you a lot of time, because all you have to do now in this new builder is to, in fact, let me just enable it here. So instead of going back to the classical builder, all you need to do now is to just come over here to this wireframe view. And if you take a look at this side by side, you can see that it's not too different, right? So that's our classical, and this is our wireframe view. Okay? So one of the main advantages is it saves you time going back to the classical builder. Okay, I hope I've answered that. Right, so let's take a look if there's more questions here. Right, I'm not sure if I can pronounce this name, but what I'll do is I will just read the question. The question is, hi Augustine, I have a question out of this scope. I've installed extra theme for my son's blog. I use the standard front page, which goes with a set of blog modules layout. I'd like to add a section on the top, something like a call to action, full width image, slider, any help? Okay, what I'll do is I'll come back to this question because I mean, of course, it's not really in line with this, and of course you've mentioned that, so I really appreciate that. So what I'll do is I'll come back to this question and I'll respond to that and help you if I can. Okay, let's see. Right, Anil Kumar says, sometimes it's difficult when we click on any text box, the options pop up covering content. Yes, that's something else that can be addressed now by using this wireframe view, because I've also had those situations where you're trying to click something and then there's overlapping going on. So if you go into the wireframe view, you can just simply go in, locate the item that you need to edit, and then you're up and running. Okay, so that's one of course, that's one of the advantages as well. Meetup Central says, I've been using the wireframe view for a while. Yeah, awesome, awesome. Oh, this is quite interesting. We have Ashane, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, saying, that's awesome. I was going back to the classic builder a lot. So as you can see, this will save you a lot of time, because the steps are just too many just going to the classical. Because let's say you've made a quick change here in your front end, in your Visual Builder, you can just click this little icon here to just preview what you've just done. Now the preview here is totally different from the preview that you get here. So let me just show you quickly. So if I come over here into the button, The preview is actually here, and the preview is only on the item or the module that you're working on. So it doesn't give you that bird's eye view of what the preview is. In fact, I was doing a demo of that without even showing you my screen. So let me just do that one more time. Okay. So what I was showing here is if you, let's say you go in and edit something here quickly. To do a quick preview, I mean, in fact, if you go to your wireframe view here, make a change in one of these, you can just do your preview by just clicking this button here. Now, this gives you a preview of the whole site, right? Whereas if you're using this classical builder, if I go in here, for example, into the button and make some changes, right, like that. So let's say I've made my changes in my design and I'd like to take a look at what it looks like. I'll have to click this little icon here. But the thing is, it only gives you a preview of that module that you're working on. So again, that's another advantage of using this wireframe view. Okay, let's take a look if we have any more questions. And I can see a lot of questions here are coming fast. Henry says, can you elaborate a little how to replace a running site to Divi? Would that be the best? Right. Okay. So Henry here says, can you elaborate a little how to replace a running site to Divi? Would that be the best way to do it, page by page, or another better way or faster way? Now, I'm assuming that the current page the current website is not running on Divi. So if you wanted to run it in Divi, you would have to do it page by page, unfortunately, because the way your current website is running is without Divi. So it needs to be designed fully using Divi. So you'd have to do it page by page. I hope I've answered that, Henry. Okay, let's take a look if I have any more questions. Uncle Social here says, I find the wireframe view is great for laying out your skeleton or framework for the page. Laying out the columns, sections, specialty sections is easier in wireframe view. Yes, that's a very good point, Uncle Social, and thank you very much for that tip, because sometimes you need to lay out your page and just visually see what you're adding on your page. So this is a great way of actually laying out your page. All right, I'm just going to take a look here on Facebook and see if we have any more if we have questions here on Facebook. And wow, we have a lot of people here tuning in from on Facebook. Right. Okay, Frederick says, I use when I can't select the row I want because it's hidden by a section, for example. Yes, that's a very good point. I've also been seeing a lot of people commenting on that. So the Visual Builder, the Wireframe View actually solves that by just going in and editing that item that you need to. So yes, that's a very good example. Francine, I think, on Facebook says, can we use Divi Builder with another theme such as Avada? Right, so I need to explain two things here, because a lot of people get confused about how to use Divi with other themes. So Divi, the Divi theme itself is the theme and the builder, right? All in one. So think about it as two products. I mean, two in one. It's the theme and also the actual builder. Now we also have the plugin itself, the Divi plugin. So the Divi plugin can be used with any other theme, like for example Avada, as you mentioned. But I mean, I'm not familiar with Avada myself, but I know that the Divi plugin can be used with other themes. So if you want to use Avada, for example, or any theme for that matter, you'd need to use the Divi Builder, not the Divi theme, because the theme has the theme and the builder as one package, whereas the plugin, the Divi Builder plugin, is on its own and can be used with other themes. So I hope I've answered that, Francine, and I hope I pronounced that name correctly as well. Okay. Let's take a look here and see if we have any more questions. Right, I can't pronounce the name here. I'm sorry about that, but what I'll do is I'll just read the question. Working with team requires this. How do you work? How do you work with your team on projects? Your screencasts show you working on local machine, so things speed along. Yes, I use the local machine to do my demos, but I do also use a domain where people can actually see. So it's just a matter of preference. Now, if you are designing using your local machine, things are just much faster, and because I don't have to go through the internet to do all my changes. So that's the reason why. But you can also, you can use both options. You can either use Divi on your local machine, then upload it onto your live website. But if you work on your local machine, that means that you cannot collaborate with your other team members. So then if you have a team that you're working with, then you'll have to install Divi on a proper domain and then have that collaboration. Okay, if you have any questions regarding this wireframe view, please just drop your questions in the comments box. I'm just going to check here on Facebook and see if we have any more questions. Okay. All right, so if you're just joining us, this is the Divi feature update live, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern. So this is the show where we go in depth on our Divi features just to help you use these features in a bit more, to help you design your websites. So today we were talking about the wireframe view for the Divi Builder, Builder. So covering just the main features and the advantages of using this wireframe view. So the main feature is, or the main advantages of using this wireframe view is to speed up your workflow, because if, let's say, for example, you're doing some editing in your Visual Builder, and you need to, and for example, there's things overlapping, instead of going to our classical builder, which is further steps away, you can just use your wireframe view to do that. So it looks like we don't have more questions here, or in fact there are. Vladislav, I think, says, can you explain what is the major difference between those sections? I'm not sure which sections you're referring to. Monique, thank you very much for tuning in. Monique says here, working on local machine saves you time, and you can export it later when you're ready to deploy. Yes, that's a very good point. When you're working on your local machine, it just makes things much easier, and I mean, as compared to working online. Okay, Michael Dennison says, thanks, Mac. You're always very helpful and great to listen to. Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate it. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any more questions. Now, if you still do have questions, please do leave them in the comments box. What I will do is I'll always go back and respond to those. But pretty much I've covered majority or pretty much everything that you need to know about the wireframe view. So next week I'll be here again with on Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern. Where we will be talking about our latest feature. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I definitely know that there is a feature that will be coming out. So keep an eye on that. So I'd like to say thank you very much to all of you that have tuned in today for the live show. We'll do it again next Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern. So thank you very much. And as I mentioned, if you do have any more questions, just drop them in the comments box, and I will go and respond to those questions. So thank you all for tuning in. See you next Monday. Take care.